Good morning. So I'm waiting for Ayo to come on. He'll be here in just a second, and I'm going to check the audio. I'm going to load it on the laptop and see how we look. Adding Ayo now. Yep, there you are. Hey. Oh my goodness. What did I do differently this week? I'm so much closer to the to the camera. No audio on your end. I can't hear you at all. Right. I'm gonna give it a I'm gonna um ask our viewers if you can hear us. Could you just say yes in the comments or no? I can't hear you at all. Hi, Janelle, Kanisha. Could you please let us know if you can hear me, or if you can hear Ayo, or if you can hear both of us, or neither one of us? Okay, I think I got your audio now. Nope, now it's gone. Got it for like a second. Nothing. Yep, I can hear you now. Yes. Nope.
I don't know.
Oh, yes.
Now,
Don't touch anything.
yes,
Yeah.
good. But this needs to calm down here. Hello,
Yes,
can
I
you
can
hear
hear
me?
you. How are you?
God, all this
I
technology,
know.
man.
It's exciting.
I'm all right. I'm all right.
It's exciting and
You
scary
say
at the
so.
same time. All right.
Yeah.
So we are
Um,
talking about money today. I
exactly.
know
Yeah.
that's
Money.
a huge that's a huge topic. I was like, did we really say we were going to talk about money? Do I really want to do this?
Well, the fact that you're questioning it already speaks to the way it is approached in
Yes.
real life. Because I read that 70% of parents are reluctant to talk to their children
Wow.
about money.
Yeah.
So there you
Well,
go. Hmm.
it's what's
Yeah.
interesting is, and this is a tip for parents, is actually the best way to, if you're trying to
Yeah.
raise your kids, it helps if you can remember what you went through at that age.
Precisely. Yeah. Yeah. I just read now that instead of telling your kids how angry you are that there's no money in the house or how it's hard to pay the bills, teach them how to escape that trap when they're
Yeah,
in a
yeah,
position of
yeah.
need.
That's helped a lot of my conversations with my kids. I actually I had a talk with my son. Well, not a talk. It was just a casual drive-by, casual drive-by comment
Mm-hmm.
just a couple of days ago. He earns money playing video games. So that's where he gets his spending money from, and he saves, and I encourage him to save. So I asked him, I was like, hey, he told me how much his earnings were going to be coming up this week. And I said, hey, have you been saving? Um, and he was like, yeah, I saved this much. And I was like, okay, well, so here's a test. And this is something I learned from my life coach. Here's a test for whether or not you're
Yeah.
saving enough. After you spend some of your money, say a month down the line, ask yourself, would I rather have that money back, or would I rather have the thing I bought with it? And that lets you know if you are overspending, because there's a feeling
Right.
you have when you actually have money and it's just sitting there and you're not doing anything with it. But that's something that I had no clue about until I paid a life coach to walk me through some of these things, So I'm trying to pass it on. But knowing what I went through at their age, trying to save money, trying to have money, overspending, lets me know that they're probably going through the same thing.
Yeah.
So tell me your thoughts on.
My thoughts are that we have first of all, fact number one, as grown up people, we spend the bulk of our time worrying over money and money issues. It's all about the money. Or like somebody sang some time ago, it's all about the Benjamins. For those of you that spend that kind of money that has precedence on it. Money, money, money. Life is money. Even if you are 20 years old, the school fees, the house rent, the other one, the phone you didn't buy, and then it gets more serious when you have children and you have to cater for other people's needs. Everything in life is money. So for something that is so important, how is it possible that we just allow our kids to just slip into it and just appear on the stage without getting the
Right.
script? I think it's one of the most negligent things a parent can do. You must pass something on. Not just say, okay, in our culture, we pass down
We do?
inheritances. We give people,
Please,
we let them have
where would
money.
we sign
Oh,
up?
yeah. It's a culture. I know, but it's culturally expected or normal to
Yes.
pass down something. But I think what we should do in our generation is not only be giving kids money or passing inheritance, but giving them the skills. And for me, as someone who is politically conscious, it begins to show to an extent in the way that our political leaders handle the money they have. These are adults, kids
Mm.
in grown up bodies who have the same attitude to the money, the national money that they had when they were youngsters. The
Yes.
sense of responsibility
Yeah.
is not there. So one of the things that the parents need to pass on to the kids when they're kids is how to make your own money choices. And as we go along, I'll tell you a story about how this struck me when I was a child, about the fact that I had no power control, even though I
Yeah.
already had my
And the
money.
sense of personal
So there you go.
responsibility for your own needs. I think that's huge. I think that
Uh-huh.
um,
Uh-huh.
being there's a sense of dependency that people have. So girls
Yeah.
are raised to expect their husbands, expect their boyfriends to take care of them. Some men are raised to be
Yeah.
entitled
Yeah.
to whatever
Yeah.
resources are available around them, whether the
Yeah.
woman's or the man's. People feel entitled to their uncle's money. Is
Yeah.
your uncle? Go and ask him for
Yeah.
your school
Yeah.
fees. Go and ask him. What the had the kid? But somehow the uncle is responsible.
Yeah.
All of those, I think that sense of personal responsibility is missing, where you are your own person. This is Nigeria. This is Ghana. This is Togo. There are borders and
Yeah.
boundaries around each unit for a reason, so they can manage their
Yeah.
resources. Families are the same way.
Yeah.
You manage your resources for yourself and your children first before you give. And then the individual is the same way as well. You manage your resources for yourself
Yeah.
as an individual before you become responsible
Yeah.
for your brothers and sisters and everybody else.
Sade, I always manage to extrapolate everything you say to politics, and I'll get to that point later about something called restructuring. But let me come back home. This thing you said about entitlement, I've read it on so many analysts report about Nigeria, about one of the central problems they have when trying to 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 fix the economic problems of Nigeria. One of the biggest economic problems of
Mm-hmm.
Nigeria is unemployment. So we have, depending on the statistics are yo-yo like, but anywhere from 60% and
Yeah.
up of different kinds of
Wow.
unemployment in
Wow.
Nigeria. It's huge. Okay, so a lot of analysts say that when they try to help young people do the normal 1, 2, 3 steps from being unemployed to being able to make your money, they commonly find a problem where the young people have an
Mm-hmm.
entitlement mindset that in which, like you just said, they look up. We are so trained to look up, to wait for someone to fix. If we join with
Yeah.
God in
Yes.
the prayers, I don't know how that is said. It's in our prayer, something about, I can't remember. It's in the Lord's Prayer.
Oh,
I forgot
right
how
on
we
it.
said it.
And then there's this
It's in
new
our
one.
daily
There's this
prayer.
new one with
But that you can
destiny
interpret them as
helpers.
you want.
We're looking for destiny
Destiny helpers.
helpers everywhere.
Look, there's a whole trend on Twitter now, and it's cute, but it's also indicative. There is a whole trend on Twitter now with Nigerians where they will post a tweet and say, "Please retweet my client or customer will be on your timeline." Okay, on the one hand, it is nice because it's a way of
Mm-hmm.
self-advertising, but somewhere underneath that, there's a waiting, there's a
Yeah.
dependency that we need to get past. And you said it about boys and girls too. We are talking about feminism here and hashtag Me Too, and it's so hard to get females to break it from the idea that the man is responsible instead of seeing that both
Right.
of us are responsible.
Yeah.
So I could go on and on, but it's a huge social need, and it underlies many other higher layer issues, and I think it should be addressed from the family when we are
Yes,
seeing
yes. So
children.
that sense of personal responsibility. I with with money though, it sometimes I think it's hard for parents to start that conversation because many times they look at the children as like a bill. The kid themselves, you're a bill, you're
Is the
a
yeah.
burden in a sense.
So why do
So
I talk to you
it's
as my
like
bill?
you're not useful, and in a way that was adapting wise over the generations. Children were seen as assets. They were seen as assets. If
Yeah.
you had 10 kids, those are your 10 laborers that were going to farm your farmland.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So
Definitely.
the
Yeah.
kids were going to farm your
Yeah.
farmland. The girls were going to bring
So
in a
yeah.
dowry. The boys were going to take over the land. So kids were seen as property. And so coming down
Yeah.
to the modern days when things have changed, you could say the last 100 years, maybe. And in
Mm-hmm.
Nigeria, who knows if
Yeah.
it's even up to 100 years of like changing that thinking.
Yeah.
Um, it's only like two
Yeah.
generations. So you're trying to say, let me change my thinking from looking at my child as an asset that's doing nothing for me now. Somehow these children are a burden. To, oh, let me try and raise them to be productive citizens who have something to contribute to the
Citizens.
world. At best,
Yeah.
parents now see them as, well,
And
you're
yeah.
not going to farm my land, but I need to raise you, make sure you do well so that you can take care of me, which is still a sense of entitlement.
Yeah. And the more you speak about it, the more I realize how
Mm-hmm.
cultural it is.
Yeah, yeah,
About how it underlines many other things we do. How we are not raising kids to in future be their own corporation. There's a lyric about that in some song. I think it's Mariah Carey, where she says, Beyonce has a similar lyric where she says, "I am a corporation. I'm not depending on you. You're not paying my bills.
yeah.
Bills and stuff. No, no, no.
And the business,
I
yeah.
am the business." We are not raising these kids to become independent, and it
Yes.
underlines everything else we do as parents. The assumption that they will depend on us forever, you know, and I think it needs
Yeah,
to snap. You know, in my reading now, the recommendation is, and this is from a Forbes article, and Forbes is money, is that kids from the age of 3, that there are different ways you can target a 3-year-old child, begin to give them a sense of the place of money. One of the easiest ways between that age and their teens is even simple
yeah,
board games like Monopoly. Because by the time you win and lose, and you have to make strategic choices on Monopoly, you are beginning to get a grasp of what role buying and selling, ownership, and all
yeah,
of that things play in life. And when you move on, if you are someone who plays things like chess already, that kind of strategic thinking and all
yeah.
the other board games is very key as part of the
Right.
conversation that parents. But
Yeah,
that's just
that's
one
only the
tip
one.
of the iceberg
And
of
then
how to
talk to your
train a
kids
kid.
about
Yeah,
what you do with money other than spending it. Sometimes all children see
right,
modeled is spending money.
right.
Oh, mommy, I want this. And then you buy it. You go to the market, you buy food, you pay for this, you
And you
pay for
give it
that.
to
They don't
them.
actually see when you're saving. So if you don't tell them,
Yeah,
okay, we spent this, but this is how I save. This is where I save. There's something called an IRA. There's something called a mutual fund. There's something called a savings account. These are the percentages that you can even just have the just talk about it. It's not like you're telling the kid that they have to do it right then, but
no, no. But
let them
let
know
them
what
in
you're
on what you're
doing.
doing.
And a lot of the conversations are centered around, oh yeah, here's the money, go and put it in the coffer for church, pay your tithe. And then the assumption is that the kid is going to spend everything else, that they should spend everything else. It's like,
How about the one where, and I begin to see how my dad did some of this quite well. How about the one where if a child wants to buy lollipop or ice cream, you can let them have the money on a condition. You have it, but first I need you to clean your room. You have it, but first I need you to do the times table from 1 to 2. Because in that sense, I'm tying the ability to have the
on
privilege of
working.
money spending to a duty or a responsibility.
Yes,
It's not
yes.
free.
Yeah, and I mean, that's good. That can sometimes, depending on how the parent ties it, how you do
How
it
you
can
do it?
be
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
weird. But let's just assume,
It needs to be clear that you're helping them to do a mental association. It's
right.
not punishment, it's
Yes,
not
it's not that their
wickedness.
needs are wrong or that the
Yeah.
request is wrong.
Money is
Yes,
not
money
free.
is not free. It doesn't fall from the sky. But these are parents
And they
say
say that to us.
parents
They do
say
say
that,
that to us.
but they say it not to show
They don't show
you
it.
the value of money, but to tell you that what you're asking for is silly, which is the wrong which is
I
the
think
wrong
what I
thing.
hear when I hear that is, money doesn't fall from trees, but I, as an addiction, I can
No, I
I
don't
can
think
make.
that's what. Yeah, I think what that says is, well, there's money, but it doesn't fall from trees, which means you don't deserve it, which actually perpetuates a poverty mentality. Those kinds of statements. Now,
Yeah.
if you tell the child money doesn't fall from trees, this is where money comes from, then you're doing
Yeah.
the kid a service, because you're saying, okay, this is where it comes from. This is how money comes, and you can let them struggle with it. I
Yeah.
let my kids struggle with not having money at times when they haven't done the thing that goes with doing money, with getting money. So like my son, like I said, he plays video games and he earns money that way. He chose, most of his friends work in fast food restaurants. In a sense, it's that's how a lot of teens
Yeah.
make money. I mean, they'll hire you on the spot. You don't have to have any. But he wanted to do this other thing. He wanted to kind of be his own guy and do his own thing. And for a while there, he didn't have money because he had to build up the skill. So for months, while his friends had money, he didn't have money because of the choice. But it was a
Yeah.
good choice.
And
I thought
it's
it was a good
funny,
choice.
as a Nigerian, when I hear Americans in particular say stuff like, "Oh, I do 3 jobs, 4 jobs, I make your child, but I'm working." As a Nigerian, I feel like, what's wrong with them? Why are they working? Why are they doing all this extra? Why can't they just stay home? My mommy will send them money. I never got
Yeah.
it for the longest time.
Yeah,
Can you
yeah,
identify what
yeah.
I'm
Because
saying?
yeah, but
It was
because
just weird.
that's how they learn the value of money, from working hard. They go, they see the work, and
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
it
yeah,
helps them make
yeah,
good choices. Because when you're working in the fast food restaurant and you're making a lot of money, you have to ask
yeah,
yourself at that point. By the time you've done it for 2 summers, you'll be like, is this what I want to do for the rest of my life? So those are
yeah,
questions that kids in other cultures are wrestling with later, picking the job, picking the wrong job. My
yeah,
daughter worked one summer job, made
yeah.
a ton of money, and then spent it. Expend the whole
Yeah.
thing. And that
So yeah,
one incident, I think, helped her realize, wait a second, it's so easy to spend money. I mean, I don't want to put her out there by telling the amount of money, but it was just like buying this, buying that, buying this. And so, but that was a huge lesson, which I allowed
yeah,
her to do that so that she could see, okay, this is how money goes. If you don't watch it, if you don't care for it, if you don't cultivate it, it'll just poof, it'll just be gone.
yeah. And in practical terms, I'm reading this Forbes page on this issue of raising your kids with money, and they're seeing a lot of things that you've said, including if the child is giving money, you should encourage them to have a budget. What part
Mm-hmm.
of it are you going to spend? What part of it are you going to save? And even the idea of what part of it are you going to set aside for charity, so that from a young age we learn to be concerned for the financial needs of people who are
Right,
already there to
right.
us.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many ways. It's all about, and I think it goes back to being willing to be vulnerable with your kids, being willing to take the time to talk,
Yeah,
being willing to talk about your
yeah.
own mistakes with money. You know,
Mistakes, but how can I make a mistake if I'm not given the chance
no,
to
no,
make a
I'm talking
mistake?
about the adult. Yes, the adult
Adult,
talking
okay.
about their own mistakes to their kids. It's interesting. Like my kids, they
Ah,
listen. They love to hear about your mistakes. If you want to teach your kids and have them pay attention, talk about your mistakes. There's nothing a teenager loves more than to hear about their parents'
wow.
mistakes.
Oh, finally, my mom is being
Right,
human again. Oh
right.
my God, I thought she went
Yeah.
to the
So like
moon.
when I'm struggling in my business or whatever, or when I'm having challenges, or when I'm trying to get to the next level in my business and there's like a gap, I talk to them about it. I mention it. I'm like, oh, I'm trying to get from this number of clients to this number of clients, and this is what I'm doing to do it. This is how I'm
Yeah,
marketing, or this is
yeah,
how I'm, changing my
yeah,
program or whatever. I actually mention it to them, and they see me in the evenings hiding in my hiding in my room or in my study, working on
working,
whatever it
yeah,
is I told them I was working on. So they've seen me and they've seen my business evolve over the years. They've seen me try
yeah,
this, try that one.
yeah,
So opening that door up to them gives them a glimpse into real life, into what it really. Otherwise, they're
yeah,
looking on the outside at rappers or
yeah,
basketball players throwing around big numbers who already
who
have
already
money,
have
and they're
money.
making assumptions about what it's like. That can be
Yeah,
wrong.
come to think of it, now that you say this, we do have currently, as we speak, an epidemic in Nigeria of young people wanting to make money the fast way. And there are very many reasons for it, including the failure of politics, which creates, and the exorbitant lifestyle of politicians, which creates very bad mental models for young people. But again, it's this thing you say where we see the results of money. We see rich
Mm-hmm.
basketballers, rich rappers, rich, rich people, but we miss the in between, the message about the value of money and the personal control responsibility that each individual must have. We miss that. So a lot of kids right now are really doing very
Yeah.
weird stuff. they cannot tie it. Again, this recent scandal with the FBI, and I don't know how many Nigerians those were, can even be tied to this idea of that there are quick or
Right.
easy ways to make money. Something that needs to be destroyed
Yes.
early, and it, yeah. And I think again, I say it because I'm also a cultural aficionado, and what that is. In our original pure culture, before it was diluted by other things, we did have the
Yes.
ethic about how to relate
Yes.
with money and
And
responsibility, and even the
integrity.
social side of
I
it,
mean, my mom talks
and
about days
integrity.
that people
We
will
have all
just
of
put their
those.
produce by the side of the road with a box for the
Exactly.
money or carry. I don't know what they use. And
Precisely. You put the stones or the cowries or
they
whatever
didn't
next
have
to it and
to.
walk
They
in
didn't
front of
have
it.
to
You
man
take
the
the
food
stuff.
stands when my
Yeah,
mom was young. I was like, really?
yeah,
I was like, are you serious?
yeah. So trust. You're talking about trust. And trust is considered by most people, including sociologists, to be a soft topic. But in economics and in politics, trust is the
Yeah.
cornerstone of everything. There are no societies that can function. There's no politics. There's nothing that can be built. There's no doctor-patient relationship. There is no anything that can stand except there's
Yeah.
trust between both parties. So this thing you mentioned, which was already existing in our culture as it was, I'm just trying to say that we are not importing new ideas. We're saying let's get back to the way we were
Right.
before we got
Right.
corrupted. Let's build trust in relationship to money. But a customer client, look at all the problems you have today in Nigeria about buying and selling where you cannot trust anybody, and the way that that translates to international transactions online and how we have all these
Mm-hmm.
red flags and things. So there's a lot to get back to the way we used to be, but we have to now become aware of what we're passing on
Yeah.
to kids from
Yeah.
home.
I mean, it definitely starts in the family. It definitely starts with the parent. I think any change that you can make as an individual in the way you handle money, in the way you talk
Yeah,
about it, in the way
needs
you
to,
show
yeah,
your own integrity, which is the hardest thing. Like if you're constantly running around brown nosing your rich
yeah.
relatives, it sends a message to your kid.
Ha 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 ha.
It's
Yeah,
horrible.
that's horrible. Yeah, making them feel like they need an uncle. We need to break that
Yes.
cycle. We don't need anybody. You only need
Yes.
yourself.
You only need
Yeah.
yourself. You only need to develop yourself. And I wanted to give a shout out to this chap, John Obidi. It's actually his birthday today. And he's the founder of
Oh,
Head Start Africa. So it's just an online community where
oh,
he passes on his knowledge
yeah,
about making money online. And really, I think
great.
what I love about that community is these are young people, the same young people we're talking about, but this is a group of young people who,
Mm,
in a sense, like value integrity, value ethics. They understand the
yeah,
value of hard work, and they've fostered that understanding of the value of hard work within that group. And I'm like, oh my God, it's
mm,
possible. It's possible to do this. It's possible as an individual for you to do this within your family. It's possible for you to do within your company. You don't have to do it for the whole country. And see, this is the mistake that people make. They want the whole country to
no,
change.
no, no, no. Yeah,
But
yeah.
if
You
you
only
look
have
at
to
what
fix
John
yourself.
has done, what he's done is he's created a community where people within that community, he's passed on those values and he's policed those values within that community. You can't come into the group and just do anyhow or say anyhow or whatever. That's not allowed in there. And now the group self polices,
Yeah,
they police themselves in there. And you're talking tens of thousands of people participating in these conversations in there. So it is possible. And I think it starts with just one person saying, okay, in my own
build small
space,
groups.
I'm going to work with integrity. I'm going to pass on values of integrity. I'm going to learn some integrity. And just it's a choice, really. Not an easy choice if you haven't been raised with it, but it is a choice nonetheless
Yeah,
that can be made. You can make a choice that I'm no longer taking any more money from any uncle. That's a choice.
yeah. That's gonna be tough. I want to tell you. Can I tell you two stories,
Yes.
personal stories? Okay, so these two stories, one is negative, one is positive, and they're both about how I learned about money negatively and positive from my parents as an example of what we need to do and how vulnerable kids are and all of that. So one is one is the negative. I'll start with the negative one. It was about the first time I spent money by myself with my own as an with my own volition and my own instrument without any instruction from above. It happened around the age of I can't remember now precisely, but I think I must have been about 12. Okay, so I waited all my life until 12 to take my first decision to say I will take that money to do this thing without anybody else involved in that decision. That's one red flag. But anyway, one day I was walking past a shop near our house, and I saw in the shop window a nice camera, photo camera, the one that children can use. It was very nice and colorful and small, and it was like you could do so many things. I'm like, oh my god, I want a camera. And I decided when I saw the camera that I am going to have a camera for myself. So I walked all the way home. I took the money from the money that I'd gotten from all the uncles and aunties that come to visit us, and I went to the shop. It wasn't expensive per se, but I went to the shop and I bought the camera. As soon as I left the shop and I got on the show, my heart just did boom. What have you done? Oh my God, what am I going to say? I did not know how to have a conversation with my mom in particular to say, Mommy, I spent money. Oh my God, who sent you? Why? So my heart was saying boom, 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 boom. And I had camera, like, what am I going to do? And I was panicking. So you know what I did? And I went, because up to then, I never spent one kobo unless I was asked or given. So now, you know what I saw? I went home and I gave the camera to myself.
Oh
Mommy,
my
this is what I
God.
got for you. It's like, that's nice. I put it over there. And that's how I
That's
secretly
three
saw
of
the
them.
camera through
Oh
my,
my
because I
God.
was scared to say I made a purchase decision. So my lesson there is that, okay, you need to train your kids right now from ages of 3 and 5 and thereabout to make relevant purchase choices, even if it is sweet. Take
Uh,
5 naira. Come and tell me next week how you used it. It's your choice, that kind of thing. So purchase decisions and purchase power are very important, because by the time you become an adult, again, you see how clearly the power to make a choice about how to
Great.
use your money becomes. Now, the positive
Yeah.
lesson, should I
No,
say
go
it
ahead.
already? Or I should hold on. Positive lesson is that both my parents are very good at bargaining. Now, the cultural side of bargaining in Nigerian markets, and also the global side in everyday situations where you and somebody contest your spaces
Hmm.
until one person wins. I learned
Nice.
that from my parents, and I learned it very well. I don't know which one is better, mommy or daddy. Mommy is a bit more gentle with it. Daddy is very brutal. So let's choose daddy's example. Because and today I'm so comfortable with bargaining, regardless of what situation it is, whether it's a market where I'm buying meat or a big place where we're deciding who should control Alaska. It's all the same to me. So my dad would be going around together doing things, and dad would stop. He wants to buy, I don't know what daddy wants to buy. Let's say it's corn. I don't know, something. So daddy would come like this, very serious. How much is that corn? The person would say, it's 100 naira. Daddy look at him. You want me to pay 100 naira? I'll give you 5 naira. Daddy say, daddy, you are wicked. Daddy say, if you like, don't take. Daddy will like, do like this. Before you know it, we'll end up very, very close to that is 5 naira. That's a bit harsh. I think if something is priced at 100, you can come down to like 50 or so. But I'm just saying, whether it was my daddy's method, which was very
Hmm.
a big drop, or my mom's more moderate and diplomatic style, those kind of things, you should drag your child with you if you like. I didn't enjoy some of these marketing days, but drag your child to the market. Let them watch you do that exchange. Take them to the banking hall, and when you fill all those horrible forms that when I was a child, the bank was just a boring place for me. Tell them this one is savings account.
Yeah.
That one, this one is benefit. If
Yes.
you do this, that will happen. Tell
Yes.
them, checkbooks, everything. My dad does that a lot. He will write a check, give it to you, and say this. Go and do this with it. So I think those are the modelings we
Right.
need to do with our kids. Let them be involved in your financial decisions, and let them also
Yeah,
make
yeah, no, that's
purchases.
really that's
It's really
really
important
good.
in that.
That's really good. I think that's important because even if the child doesn't know what it there's something in psychology about familiarity. When you're familiar with something, you're not
Yeah,
afraid of it. Unfamiliarity creates fear. So if a child doesn't know what a checkbook is, has never seen it, and then suddenly goes to the bank, opens an
yeah,
account, and maybe at age
yeah,
20 or whatever, the checkbook is unfamiliar, which
yeah,
creates a sense of insecurity, which creates fear, creates anxiety.
yeah,
That's the word.
yeah,
Creates anxiety about using it,
yeah,
about using those instruments later in life.
yeah,
So even if your child isn't using your checkbook, but
yeah,
they know what it is, they've seen you use it comfortably, that familiarity reduces the anxiety. Because I think that's what a lot of us have around money is anxiety. We're just
Precisely.
afraid of it. I mean, you talked about
Yeah,
bargaining,
yeah,
um, that
yeah,
inability to bargain can create an inability to negotiate a salary, to negotiate a proper price or to
exactly,
ask for a proper price for your goods and
exactly,
services in the market.
exactly. Yeah, and now if I may connect that, one of my proudest moments ever in my life was when I negotiated my first salary in Europe when I was in Nigeria. I think I could not have done that without this backup. I was so brutal. Even they were like, what is it? I said, that's what I want to. That's how it is. They said, okay, wait, we'll get back to you. Yeah, yeah. I said, okay. They thought I would say please. I said, hmm. So they now call me back. They said, okay, who is
Nice.
you? I said, okay, it's okay. So coming from that background, where daddy taught me that you can stand your ground, you can attach high value to what you think you're worth.
Yeah.
Look at where I am today.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
think
no,
it's
I
really
agree.
important.
The
The
modeling
mentoring.
showing, I'm
Yeah,
going to the bank, this is what I'm going to do. I'm
yeah,
withdrawing money from here. This is
yeah,
what I'm doing with it. I'm investing money
yeah.
in this. I talk to my kids about the money that I invest in my business, the capital, what I'm doing with it, things like that. And it's just a conversation. It's not for the child to do anything.
And maybe shares. Sometimes we have had these questions about which one is more valuable. Is it shares or stocks?
Right.
Or what's the other one? In terms of long-term investment or land, I think we can find a way to involve our kids in
Yeah.
very hardcore choices. Because like I'm reading here on this Forbes page also, it says that many parents find it more comfortable to discuss bullying, drugs, and smoking than family
Mm.
finances or investing. And it says that only 30% of kids have ever had a conversation
Yeah.
about money with
Let's
their
talk about
parents.
let me bring up a question. What do you think about parents telling their kids how much they earn?
There are no hard and fast rules. It's neither good nor bad. It depends on what your family model is. If your family model is the
But that's one we
authoritarian
don't like
method
now.
where everybody's afraid of everybody. So I'm trying not to choose for people. I'm saying that if that's what you operate, then you may not be able to achieve that. But I would love to be in a family situation where we are open for the sake of these kids. Because again, I keep saying that one day they will not be dependent on me. I won't own them as much as I own them now. And if I really love them that much and I see into their future and I don't want them to struggle with the things I've struggled with, I'll free them early. So, child, I earn only 100K. These are the things we have to juxtapose for that to continue
Right.
to cost. Not the theoretical one in school, the one in
Right.
real life. This is how I manage. This is what your mother contributes. This is the division of labor in our house. So some of those theories in economics textbooks, they have practical household applications. And I tell my kid, I earn only so much. So what do you think you can do? And let them offer, let them solve the
I
problems with it. Daddy,
know.
what
I've been
about?
thinking about
You
having
never know
my
what's in
kids
my
do the
head.
bills. Like,
And
hey,
then we'll
here's
keep it on the shelf. But all I know is that by the time that child is an adult, I think I've solved 30% of their problems that they're going to face when they start being
yeah, that's a
on
good
their
point.
own. And also, I've raised a daughter who will not go looking for one more wherever
Right.
I
I
go. So,
agree. Yeah. I think I vote for openness, because I think it breaks the
yeah,
stigma and removes the anxiety. My kids know how much I earn. I don't know if they're impressed or not, but but they
that's
know
part
how
of the
much I
problem.
earn. As my business grows, I talk about the changes in my business and the
Yes,
changes in my business
yeah,
income, and what
yeah,
affected that change. So when I have more clients, I'll be like, okay, this is what happened, this is how they came. And I have those conversations. They don't really tell me much about what they think about it, but I think it's been important for them to know that, what our family finances look
yeah.
like.
I think you'll figure it out as the future comes, what impact this has. But let me give you another scenario of how you test what you're doing. When your kids go to the newsstand to buy newspapers, magazines, what kind of things do they
Mm.
pick off the stand? If you're in a place, do they pick the Daily Sun, the Daily Mirror, and weekend weekend enjoyment newspaper? How
I
many of
don't
them
think
would you
any
go
of
to
them
English
is picking up
Times?
any newspapers at all.
Oh,
Ayo.
okay. I understand where you're going with that answer. But in terms of if they would pick papers
Mm.
and magazines, they pick what are people reading? GQ, Ebony, which are nice to read.
The
Would they
business.
also pick the Business Times, the Business Week,
In
the Financial Times? Are they interested in those
Right.
convoluted
Interestingly,
numbers, with the
my
state of the economy? What's going to happen next year? Okay, let me give you an example. In this country where I am now, we already think we are paying a lot for health insurances. They just released last week that they're going to raise it by 3% or so next year. Would your child pick that newspaper? Would he want to know the difference between his financial responsibilities on health next year and now already? Or would you say, oh, that stuff is complex? I think it's an indication of what you are raising them
Mhm.
to be conscious of. If they go to the newsstand and they want to know where the economy is headed so they can prepare themselves, or things
Right.
they can be
Yeah,
aware of.
I think if you've had conversations, then there'll be some interest. So it would be more like, what are they watching on
Uh,
YouTube, among other things. What's interesting is, like,
uh,
my daughter, she spends a lot of time on YouTube, and we're talking about, I can't remember what we were talking about, but sometimes, I'll walk in on her, she's watching something weird on YouTube about teens and things. I'm just like, oh my God, this is terrible. But on the
yeah,
flip side,
yeah, yeah,
sometimes when I'm not watching, she's also listening to YouTube channels about finances, or YouTube channels
yeah,
run by
yeah,
psychology professors in other countries. Things like that. I'm like, okay, that's pretty good.
yeah, yeah. It's a whole like a mixed
Right,
bag of
exactly.
things,
So
right?
he's going to be a mixed bag. Sometimes we're like, oh, they should be just looking at all the serious things. They're not going to do
Serious.
that. And they're certainly not going to look at it in the papers.
No. And should have the bread, the paper. I
But
also
they
know
will
that.
do
Maybe
it.
they'll
They
find
will
it
do
in
it
their
online
brain.
if you
I
give.
don't know.
If you,
Yeah.
the thing is that you don't know what you don't know. So if you give them, and the way I look at it is, you need a spine. When my kids learned history, what they did when they were like, I think between 6 and 8, the curriculum we used gave them helped them memorize a timeline. It didn't give them all the dates of
Timeline.
everything that happened. It just said um 3000 BC this, 2000 BC this, so it gave, there was like a whole list of like years and the major milestones. Alexander the Great this year, this person this year. Then the next level was you now dig into the timeline, into the details. So what you want to do when you're talking to your kids about finances, you're not trying to tell them everything, but you're trying to give them a spine for them to hang knowledge as it
Yeah.
comes, throughout their lives. So they need to know money, the value of money, currency, world currency, exchange rates.
Yeah.
They need to know what an exchange rate is. They don't need to
Currencies.
memorize all the
Yeah.
exchange rates or check it every single day, but they need to know what it is.
Yeah.
Then they need to
Yeah.
know what a bank is, what this kind of account is, what an IRA is. They need to know investments
Yeah.
exist. They don't have to know all the investments. But what happens is that
Yeah.
as they grow,
Yeah.
they start to fill in those buckets because you've given them the spine, the timeline, and then the filling of the buckets and the details will come over time, and they will actually go on their own and look for that information.
Another interesting example, or series of examples I have is in my family, my sister and her children, and then my sister-in-law also, that whole family line, they encourage their kids, even on my mother's side, they encourage their kids to do businesses. So there are many of these kids who have university degrees and jobs who are by the side also. One has I'm talking about teenagers, one has a
Mm,
photography business, and every weekend he's taking photographs at weddings, and then he earns money, has an
nice.
Instagram page. One learned how to do shoes, leather shoes, sandals. He went to school for that and is now selling his own sandals. And this person is still in university doing a science-based degree. Um, okay, their mom, the one that does photography, his mom, every weekend she cooks for events. So I think these are the practical ways that we are already doing and we should continue to do. I was thinking, that by the time your kid is going to leave your home, maybe they're 18 or 25 or whatever, I think they should have
I
managed a
agree.
business of their own. And let them go and say, I'm done with you, I've taught you everything that
Yeah,
you need to
yeah,
know about
yeah.
life.
And let them know that there are possibilities. Like really, there are possibilities with money.
Yeah. So that if they get into the economy and this whole business starts off, there's no job, they will not be crying and waiting for mommy or
Yeah,
daddy or the uncle. They might have the skills to actually
yeah,
turn it around for
yeah.
themselves.
Awesome. This was interesting. Thank you everyone for
Yeah.
joining us. We don't have any comments that I see. Um,
Because it's huge.
it's a big topic, and nobody, money is a tough one.
Very, very,
It's we can only start
yeah.
by just bringing it to the surface that that hey, you need to do this. It's one more thing parents need to do, one more thing we need to do as a society to
One more
like
thing,
make
yeah.
ourselves better and be where we need to
Yeah.
be. So, all right, any last thoughts?
Um, yeah, I think we should add it to the list. Like I said earlier, we talk about other things to kids like drugs, bullying, sexuality, things. I think we should talk about
Right.
money also. All the real life issues that they have
Yep.
to do when they're
Absolutely.
adults. And we start when they're young.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you. Thanks everyone for joining us. It was really good to see you,
Yeah.
Tony and Patience and Christabel. And we'll see you
Yeah.
Friday, same time.
Yep.
I don't remember the topic, but we'll put it out there. All right. Take
Okay.
care. Bye.
All right then, Shadi. Bye.